What is up, guys? I am back with a new video, and today we're going to be talking about why Dogie buzzed his head. He went bald now. Well, if you didn't know, Dogie made a bet with his viewers that if his team lost to Bren No Limit, which is, you know, what we're going to be watching here, he's going to be going bald. He buzzed his head, and they did lose. So we're going to talk about what Aether Atlas could have done better. I mean, these guys are professionals, so I'm sure they know what they're doing. It's just that, you know, every team has their mistakes, so we'll talk about it. I'm not saying it's easier for us to see their mistakes when you can see the whole map and where the enemies are, both perspectives. Plus, the Asia server also has a different meta from North American server. That's why it's gonna be a little, you know, different from what you see on my streams. They have the 3-ban system. They have different metas, different heroes that they pick to counter each other. So let's start this out, and I'll take off my webcam real quick so you guys can see the whole thing. Alright, we're gonna first look at the draft and ban, of course. That's super important. So Bren No Limit has first pick, and they are gonna get that Hayabusa ban. They ban Hayabusa, I'm guessing, because he is like a decent hero. He's not like the top tier meta hero. Whenever you have first pick, you tend to ban heroes that are, you know, not super weak and not super strong. Like, it's still viable. It's like a unique pick in a way. Something that Aether Atlas could have picked if they didn't ban it. But since they have first pick, of course, they want to ban someone that's, you know, not too OP. And Aether Atlas banned Chu. That's a really good ban. Usual common ban for this elo. Really high tournament picks. And Bren No Limit banned Lunox, which is also a common ban now on this meta. And Aether Atlas needs to either, you know, they can open up Kimi, they can open up Harit by not banning any of those heroes. But I believe they opened up Harit and Kimi here, so they get one. And they ended up banning Grok. Grok is also a viable ban, since Grok is like probably the strongest tank, I would say, in this current meta right now. And because of that, Bren No Limit will of course pick Harit automatically, since that's the most obvious OP ban. Even with the nerf, Harit is still super strong, so it's just pretty insane. The only way they can counter that is probably a Mincetar, but I don't know if Aether Atlas has a Mincetar player to counter the Harit pick. I believe they pick a Kimi and a Lemord. Now, the Kimi is actually a really good pick, but I'm not a big fan of the Lemord pick. The Lemord could be picked some other time, since there's so many fighters that could solo lane. Like Tamus, if the other team picks Lemord, they could pick Tamus. So, you know, that could have been open. But, you know, to be honest, instead of Lemord, they could have picked more crowd control to protect Kimi, like Akai or Minotaur. And yeah, so Bren No Limit ended up getting Thamus to solo lane against that Lemord. So it's going to be a 1v1 solo lane against that Lemord. And Minotaur for the CC, of course. And now the last pick for the first banning phase is going to be, let's see here. So they know that Aether has Kimi and a fighter. Okay, so that's going to be a marksman and a fighter. So they need a tank, which is going to be a Belric, or they need a support. They need a mage. They either need a support, tank, or mage. They can also do double tank, but in this case, they're going to be picking Belric. So Belric is a really good counter for people like Claude, since Claude is like commonly picked as a marksman. They, you know, they ended up picking Belric to counter Bren No Limit from that. And Bren No Limit, I believe, is going to ban, like, whenever you're doing the second banning phase, you're gonna want to think about what Aether wants to pick. So they're still missing a mage. They still don't have a mage. Kimi is considered a little bit of a mage, since she's hybrid, or depending on how LeBron builds her, she could go either full AD or hybrid. But in this case, they banned Kadita, since they knew that Aether doesn't have a mage yet. So that's a really good ban for Bren No Limit. Kadita is like super underrated, guys. Like, a lot of CC could get away from many situations. Like, let's say if they didn't ban Kadita and Aether got Kadita, if Harit stunned Kadita could get away by just ulting and running away, right? So by banning Kadita, they're gonna prevent that from happening. And so Aether needs to ban like an assassin or a marksman, which is what Bren No Limit still does not have. They still don't have a marksman and an assassin, since they already have a mage, fighter, and a tank. Now, for Aether Atlas here, they could either do double tank or a support tank team comp, but I believe they went for an Estes picker, an Estes pick instead. So it's gonna be a support tank combo, which I'm not a big fan of. The Estes pick is really risky, since you're gonna be sacrificing a lot of crowd control in your front line whenever you pick an Estes, since, you know, Estes only has a slow. All he does is pretty much sustain the whole team, but that's about it. If you don't have crowd control, you're pretty screwed for the front line. And that's what Bren No Limit did. They took advantage of that, and they picked even more frontline heroes, like such as Akai. So it's gonna be an Akai and a Minotaur on the front line for Bren No Limit. And they also picked the Kari to counter the Belrig, which I believe that the Kari ban could have been done right here, since obviously that they know that Kari can, you know, it's only Cloud or Kari that's the only viable. They're the only viable marksman left that's not picked or banned. So if they did ban Kari instead of Helkurt, someone else, like, they don't have any marksman. They're gonna be playing with no marksman, right? If they do pick Cloud, Cloud gets countered by Belric. So maybe that's what Aether Atlas could have done better. But I believe that they banned Helkurt to prevent Helkurt from killing Kimmy or Estes. But the thing about that is, instead of picking Estes and, you know, banning Helkurt, they could have picked a double tank instead. Like Akai still wasn't picked. They could have picked Akai and Belric, which would have been super good. And instead ban Kari and, you know, no counter picks for Belric. Okay. Let's go back for a second and look at their spells. So we have Thamos with a sprint, JP with the flicker. Flicker is really good here for JP because they don't have a lot of crowd control. Like I said, they only have a slow. They don't have like a solid stun except for the Belric first skill, which is the Vine. And yeah, everything else is pretty much a slow, and Kagura doesn't have a solid stun. She has like a slight stun for her umbrella. And here for Bren No Limit, they do have a sprint, Petrify of course for Akai, and they want to have a retribution for each team. So retribution is really important. Each team comp needs to have at least one retribution to secure objectives such as Turtle and Crab. So that's why retribution. Usually, like, sometimes Harith could get Aegis, depending if this team comp has an assassin. Let's say Fanny was on this team comp, just for an example, and Fanny has Retribution. So, instead of Harith taking Retribution, Harith could have taken, like, Aegis or Purify, depending on what the enemy team has, alright? So, but in this case, this is really good from Bren No Limit, noticing that they need Retribution to secure objectives. And yes, Minotaur, of course, their Flicker for the engage. And here we go, Purify for Estes, because since they have so much crowd control that, yeah, like 3 of them needed to get Purify. And to be honest, LeBron was better off taking Purify than Sprint, in my opinion. Since if Harith stuns him, like, Sprint is not gonna do anything. If Akai sets him up, Sprint is not gonna do anything. Purify works against Akai, by the way. So I believe Sprint is only good against Thamos if you're trying to run away from him, and Kari if you're trying to run away and try to micro. But this other 3 heroes, I think Purify is such a better pick, a much better pick than Sprint, in my opinion. Okay, so let's start the game off. I just wanted to explain to you guys the spells and why they picked who they picked, and what Aether could have done better on the banning phase and draft phase. So here we go. Let's start it off. So usually, whenever you start off, when you spawn, the turtle is gonna show up from top lane or bot lane. So it depends. Wherever that turtle is, you're gonna want to put 2 people in there, and the solo laner goes on the opposite lane. Okay, which is gonna be Thomas and Lemard. That's a common laning phase right now. So it's gonna be a 1v1 on the non-turtle lane all the time. And right here, if you guys did not know, the first wave change actually. Instead of having like no cannon minion on the first wave, they actually put a cannon minion now on the latest patch. So it's like really important to get that, you know, that lane XP right away on lane. And as we see here, Aether Atlas is actually doing the jungle first. Which I'm not a big fan of, since I don't know if they're aware that the laning minions already changed, and meaning the gold output that you're gonna get from these minions and the experience from these minions are gonna change. It's gonna be way more than whatever rotation they're doing. So in my opinion, what they could have done better is actually go aggressive on this lane, since they have sustain anyways from Kimmy has sustain anyways from Estes, and Kimmy has like way better poke than Kari early game, so they know that they have advantage right here. The only thing that they need to be aware of is if Harith and Akai are gonna be like hiding somewhere here and, you know, ganking. But since they see him in mid lane already on the map, they should have just been aggressive like around here and just abuse the Kimmy, abuse the Kari and the Minotaur instead. In my opinion, that's just my opinion, okay? So yeah, they're gonna start the small minion, go into the red, and go into the lane. But instead, for the blue team, Bren No Limit, they started the lane minions, and they ended up getting the small minion instead. So they wanted to clear that as fast as possible, and that also delayed Kimmy, you know, from getting this lane XP right here, because she is getting that lane jungle buff XP by herself. It's just very unfortunate that, you know, Bren No Limit actually secured this small minion. So these little things really count, and this is really good rotation from Bren No Limit. And they made Kari and Minotaur go mid lane, and the one with the retribution go to the crab to secure that crab and not share XP from them. Instead of 4 people securing the crab, they could secure it by just 2 of them, you know? So to explain it in a better way, you'll get more XP with just having 2 people there than having 4 people there, if you know what I mean. Since they know that Harith has a retribution, and Kimmy and Estes don't really have like a burst to steal the crab, they know that they can secure the crab no problem without, you know, without any risk. And that's why Kari and Minotaur went mid lane to, you know, clear the lane instead of, you know, staying here and sharing XP with Harith and Akai, which is super smart from Bren No Limit. Super smart. And right here, we can see that, look, there's 3 people in Aether Atlas doing this crab, which means that they're gonna share that XP between each other. Compared to 2 people up there in 2 people for Bren No Limit on the crab. That means that Harith is gonna get level 4 faster than, you know, the CAG at mid lane. So once they secure that crab, Bren No Limit, Kari, and Minotaur took the small minion right here that was open. So they're just gonna get, this is just like constant farming from Bren No Limit, which is really good. They cleared the lane, they went to the small minion, and went around again to switch lanes, which is super good. And what Aether Atlas want to do here, since the turtle lane is here, they want to put at least 4 people here. They want to put at least 4 people here. Of course, the solo lane is gonna stay there. Whoever pushes faster gets to get an advantage to rotate to the turtle lane, you know, quicker than the one that doesn't clear the lane faster. So since the turtle is gonna be up in 5 seconds, of course everybody's getting ready for it. As you can see, Kagura is trying to just check the bushes, and Belric trying to face check, and you know, these guys are just farming. I feel like if we go back, like the Kari and the Minotaur's rotation is just so on point, since they're gonna be like they're gonna be getting XP constantly, instead of like a duo, which is the Kimmy and the Estes that just stays in lane and doesn't. You need to wait for the next wave to actually get some XP and gold, right? So that's just a really good play from Bren No Limit right there. And right here, since the turtle is up, they're gonna be contesting for this. To be honest, before the game even started, we already know that Bren No Limit is gonna have the advantage on a team fight, since they have more crowd control. Akai has the spin, Minotaur has the sustain and the knockup, Harith has the stun, the dashes. Nobody's gonna stop Harith from dashing, because look at their team comp. They have 1 stun. If Belric misses the stun, and if Kagura misses the umbrella stun, they're kind of screwed. They're not gonna do anything to the Harith. Harith is just gonna keep dashing, and it's not gonna do anything. And Kari is just gonna have a free hit. There's no pressure, because, you know, like Aether Atlas has such a crappy ass front line. I mean, Belric is a good pick, but in this case, like, you really need more crowd control whenever a Belric is picked on your team. And that's this is why Aether Atlas lost this turtle, I believe. Also, it's gonna be a battle of retributions, but since, you know, Bren No Limit has such a good front, look at this. Akai can just front the whole thing, Minotaur just fronting the whole thing, sustaining, and that's a really good ult from Minotaur, 4-man ult. And look at Kagura cannot even do anything, because the Akai ulted on her. So just overall, really good play and good switch from the tank. If you guys noticed that, Rafflesia was taking damage first, and after backing off, he jumped over to the other side of the turtle what's it called? The turtle spawn, whatever it's called. I don't I don't have a specific name for it. He jumped over to the turtle spawn and he made Minotaur tank the damage from the 4 people instead, because Minotaur is about to get his rage. So that's like super good coordination from the 2 tanks right here by Bren No Limit. And he ended up getting a 4-man ulti. And once Rafflesia jumped over the turtle spawn, he ended up getting the Kagura from the backline, trying to get the Harith and the Kari around here. So really good coordination from Bren No Limit and good secure from them. Minotaur got that turtle because, you know, you cannot retribution when you're crowd control, and Kagura was stuck at the wall at the other side. You cannot retribution when you're crowd controlled by Akai as well. So well done by Bren No Limit over there. To be honest, Aether Atlas cannot do anything about that since their team comp is just, you know, at a disadvantage at that point for Turtle. And right here, we'll see that Minotaur ended up switching lanes to the bot lane with Tamu. So it's going to be a 2v1 right here. But the good part about that is Kari's going to be alone, and she's going to be solo farming. Either Aether Atlas could, since they have 2 people here, Aether Atlas could deny that solo farm by abusing the Kari, since Kari is like, Kari solo lane you can abuse by having a Kimmy. Since Kimmy has such long range that, you know, you could just bully Kari alone on top lane. As long as you know where Harith and Akai is, and where you know where Minotaur and Thamos is. But let's keep track of the minimap. Let's keep track of the minimap. Right now, Aether Atlas knows that Kari is still on this lane, alone for now, and they see that Minotaur is on the other lane now, right here. They don't know where Harith and Akai is, so of course they're not gonna go aggressive yet, just in case that they get ganked by Harith and Akai. And right here, they're getting the blue buffs for each team. Harith got the blue buff here, Kagura got the blue buff there. And they're gonna get the crab again, the usual rotation after the first turtle. And right here, look at this. After that, they saw Harith and Minotaur right here at mid lane, and Akai actually. So they saw for Aether Atlas's minimap, they saw Akai when they wave clear here. Akai, Minotaur, and Harith, and Thamos was staying on this lane. So you should assume that there's 4 people here. Now this is very hard to like keep track of, especially when of course you don't have vision all the time and you're not looking at the minimap the whole time. But since, you know, it's really important as a team to just communicate and tell where people are. Okay, there was 3 people mid lane and they're about to go bot lane, since once they wave clear mid lane, there's that slight, you know, it's not a fog of war. You're still being seen. They have like an idea. You see that? Harith went bot lane right away. They have a general idea to where they're going. So obviously they're not gonna be going top lane. And now Aether Atlas should know that it's gonna be a 2v1 up here. Kari should be alone. Thamos is always solo laning bot lane, never rotated, except for the turtle right here, except for the turtle contest. So at this point, they should be bullying Kari right now. Instead of bullying Kari, they ended up farming, which I don't know why. And these guys are taking advantage of the 2 people that are only here. It's gonna be a 4v2. Lemmart's gonna be behind it, but it's gonna be too late. And they have so much crowd control. Harith stun, Akai ulti, and Minotaur ulti. It's just, you know, these guys are just gonna get destroyed. Belric won't be able to peel for Kagura, even though Kagura has her own purify if she has her umbrella. And right here, they just mess up. It actually gets paused, but it'll resume in a minute. Here we go. Oh yeah, so they get caught right away. Lemmard was already too late. He's gonna be running away, cannot do anything to save his teammates. And also, this is another mistake from Lemmard. They tried, and what's it called? Kimmy and Estes farmed this small minion right here and left the Kari up top. And instead, they you know, since they saw 4 people down bot, they wanted to trade something, since, you know, it's too late to go aggressive here. So we need to get something in return for the deaths that happen on bot lane. So to do that, they wanted to take that mid tower, okay? And Lemmard made a big mistake right here. He should know that that Minotaur has his you know, he has rage, so it's very very risky if you go close to a Minotaur that has rage, especially if you're alone and there's also an Akai right there. And he gets ulted right here and gets caught and he can't do anything. So that's like the basic mistakes that Lemmer did, but they were probably tilted from the first team fight that happened in Turtle since they lost the first team fight. Right here, still no pressure on Kari. Look at Kari just having a good ass time, not even doing anything. He's just farming, no pressure. Like, Kimmy could be cutting this lane as soon as possible, but Kari is playing so well that all she needs to do is pretty much play safe. Play safe pretty much. But they're letting her clear the wave and they're not even pushing the lane. But they backed off since they know that the turtle is up and they want to contest that. And that's the reason why they backed off. What I'm trying to explain is Kimmy and Estes, since it's a 2v1 and they know that they can bully Kari alone, they should have done it way earlier. But now it's too late, so you can't do anything. Of course, Bren No Limit, they know that they have the team fight advantage since they have so much crowd control. And they're going to get retribution on that turtle. Easy. Estes, like, look at this. This is what I'm trying to explain when I say that Aether Atlas does not have a front line. Unless Estes is going to build tank, he still doesn't have crowd control. Belric is right here, but, you know, he doesn't have, he has one stun. Can't really do anything. But Akai has so much, you know, has so much presence in the map. He can push the whole three members of Aether Atlas right here. And Estes got isolated and he ended up dying, so Estes is pretty much, you know, useless when he's the first one to die. No sustain at all for this, no healing for them. So already they're actually 4,000 gold behind. That's a really good ulti for Minotaur. He knows that, you know, if he knows that he has rage, that's why he went aggressive. If we go back right here, he almost has rage right here, and I believe he gets it soon right here. Yeah, he gets it right there. And he flickered in, and that was a really nice ulti, so to avoid them from getting away. They actually get another kill, maybe? Yep, they get another kill for Harith, which is super good. And it's really hard to come back from this game at this point, since they're already at a disadvantage team comp wise, and now they're at a disadvantage map control wise. Bren No Limit has so much pressure going on, and I actually can't see Aether Atlas winning a team fight at all unless they split push, which Lemard is the only one that can split push, and Kimmy. But the problem is, if Kimmy split pushes, Bren No Limit has no problem with just Harith going for the Kimmy, since Harith can take on Kimmy pretty well. Tamus can 1v1 Kimmy, as you saw just now, really well, since Tamus has a really good gap closer with the first skill. The really bad part about this is I don't know why Kimmy went really aggressive alone here. Look at his teammates. Kagura is right here, Estes is right here, not even close to him. Lemard is right here, and Belric is still dead. So, and he has no towers behind him. So this is really risky. This is a risky position. This is super overextended. You should not be doing this. Especially you don't know where Minotaur is. You don't know where Kari is. Kari is in the bush right here. But she was farming a second ago, so you can assume that she's top lane. So the only thing that's unknown is Minotaur, which is gonna be here in the river. Maybe they saw him in the mid lane and assumed that he's also going top lane. So let's just say that, okay, it's gonna be safe. It's gonna be a 1v1 Tamas and Kimmy. The only problem here is Kimmy doesn't have the first tower right here, and I think he doesn't have sprint as well. When you don't have sprint against a Tamus that's 3-0 and 3, that's a really bad idea to go aggressive. Look how close he went to the Tamus. Look how close he went to the Tamus and just... Okay, this is a really good distance. This is a good distance. I'm assuming he doesn't have sprint because the team fight just ended from the turtle. And he goes really close. Before the jump, we can see that we can see how you're gonna see how far he go, how close he gets. This is really, that's like a jumping distance for Tamus. So that's really, look, it's from here. Tamus was here and Kimmy was right there. So Kimmy went over aggressive, no energy, so you can't do a lot of damage. No tower, just like horrible positioning just in general. So that's gonna be, yeah, that's gonna be a bad play from LeBron. Again, these guys are professional players, so I'm assuming they know what they're doing. Of course, it's gonna be easier for us to analyze the gameplay because we can see everything, the minimap and everything. So don't get mad at me if I'm criticizing LeBron or if I'm sounding like, oh, I'm for Bren No Limit. You know, I don't. It's not that I don't support any of these teams. I'm a supporter for every team, and I think all the teams have their own, you know, strengths and weaknesses. Draft wise, you know, some teams like the main Bren team, the original Bren team, they have a really, you know, wide hero pool. So yeah, that's like an example of an advantage of what I was talking about. But this is No Limit, so this is different. Again, just overextending from the bot lane. We can go right here. Kimmy's gonna be soloing that, and they wanted Lemmer to farm this since the first tower was still up. If you go back, sorry if I keep replaying. Sorry if I keep replaying the gameplay, but to just explain to you guys, they switched Lemmer and Kimmy because they wanted Lemmer to farm. They needed Lemmer to farm since he's gonna be the one trying to carry the game. They want him, you know, get a little bit farmed up than Kimmy. Kimmy can just backline and pretty much poke. But since the tower is gonna be down anyways, it's not gonna do anything. This is really good from, you know, Bren No Limit. Super good. Just taking advantage of every weaknesses that they see. They know that Lemert is already behind. Pretty much everybody's behind on this team since they got 2 turtles already. And just team comp wise, again, draft and bans are so important that this is what can happen if you don't ban or draft correctly. It's not that they draft wrong. It's just that they could have drafted a lot better than this. I don't know why. Yeah, I don't know why they picked Estes with a Belric, which I don't really get. Yes, so you can get a lot of sustain if Belric gets fed and Kimmy gets fed to protect Kimmy and Belric. But you know, having Akai just isolate someone, Akai could just isolate someone and just prevent that from happening. No matter, you know, no matter what team comp this is. Again, Estes getting caught. No frontline. Again, look, but it's either Belric or Estes that's gonna be frontlining. And look at Estes. Like by me looking at his HP bar, I'm guessing he's building like Enchanted Talisman first for mana, and he's not really tanky compared to a Belric. Of course, has a lot of HP, and I can't really see the items that he has. But if he is building tank, look how squishy he was. He died in like a second. Just no good front line for Aether Atlas. That's why they're losing this game. And you know, simple mistakes. Tamus got that easy tower right there. No competition, no contest. And at this point, it's the game. The game is pretty much under control by Bren No Limit. They're controlling the whole map. No, 2 towers down here, 2 towers down here, 1 tower down here. Just map pressure. It's just crazy. And Aether Atlas only has 1 tower in mid lane. And the other 2 towers are still, from the first tier towers, are still up, top and bot. You know, there's just no pressure here. And now all they can do is pretty much defend. Defend and go to late game. But look, it's only 8 minutes into the game and they already have a lot of towers down. They're already screwed pretty much. If Bren No Limit plays it correctly like they are doing right now, they're not gonna win at all. I can't see them winning at all. Of course, I already know the outcome since we know what happened to Dogie, but you know, it's good to analyze these type of games so you guys understand what's going on. Again, this video is made not to bash on Aether Atlas. It's just to show you guys what happened and what they could have done better, in my opinion. See, look at, they're just standing there because they can't do anything. All the towers are down except for the inhibs, and yeah, all they can do is defend and farm. They pretty much lost at this point if, yeah. All they can do is pretty much, Bren No Limit wants to do is just wait for the Lord and just push with the Lord. Without the Lord, they cannot really push since they have a pretty good wave clear. Aether Atlas has a pretty good wave clear with Kagura and Kimmy. And they have a Estes for sustain for that wave clear. And in 13 seconds, Lord will be up, and I think Bren No Limit will be ready for that soon. And they just want all the lanes to be pushed before doing Lord, so they can secure it. And as you can see, Lord resurrecting soon. They're already trying to, you know, start to head there bit by bit. They're trying to head there at Lord. Just one more wave clear, and I think they're gonna go to Lord. Yep, exactly. Thomas could have wave cleared this and went to Lord instead, because that would have been the same thing. But it doesn't matter, since they're so ahead. They're probably so confident right now that they can do Lord and win this team fight. Also, Minotaur is gonna get rage at like a perfect timing once this Lord is almost dead. Look at this. Not to mention, this Minotaur is really good at controlling his rage bar. He doesn't want it all the way filled up already, but they had no problems there. The Aether Atlas did not even contest at all. So all they need to do is just wait for Lord. Keep pushing the lanes, wait for Lord, and just chill. They're playing it safe. Super smart by Bren No Limit. Like, they're almost playing a flawless game, to be honest. Flawless game so far. Yeah, they are playing a flawless game so far, to be honest with you. Rotations are on point, picks are on point, mechanics are on point, just everything. And that's why they're a professional team, and they got picked up by Bren, which is super good. Lord is going to be top lane, and all they want to do is just push. Aether Atlas is just going to defend, like I said. Here we're going to see Minotaur is already getting ready for a flicker, what's it called? A flicker ult. They just want to put some pressure, and they know that Lord is going to be coming up right here. But Minotaur is going to be running out of rage, so I think they're going to want to wait for that rage again. He's going to be charging up soon, I believe. Yep, he's going to be charging up right there. And, okay, this is really good from Minotaur, like I said. So he's going to be hitting the tower to get some rage on his bar. And as soon as he gets full rage, he's going to flicker ulti, I believe. They are going to get this tower. And there's more super minions here, so Minotaur could go in. He has rage. He's super confident. He's just trying to zone them and front them. They almost killed Minotaur, actually. That was really good from Kag, but he's going to be recalling to play it safe. Right now, it's already worth it for Bren No Limit, since they already have one inhib tower, and they almost got, you know, the other two inhib towers are super low. So they don't need to force plays, actually. They could have forced it, to be honest, and probably win the game for the Minotaur, but, you know, again, they don't want any chances for Aether Atlas. That's why they're not taking those risky plays. They just want to play safe, because they know they got this in the bag if they do play safe the whole way. Again, just wait for the push the lane, side lanes, and they're gonna be forcing this mid tower since it's so low. They're just gonna wait for minions, and they're gonna force to take down this mid tower. Look at this. There's already three people with immortality. They could front the whole game, and there's only, I think, one guy with immortality here, which is the Estes. Again, talking about, I know I sound like really like a broken record when I emphasize not having a front line, but yeah, this is the problem with not having a front line. Estes couldn't even do anything, couldn't sustain. Belric did a little bit sustaining because he had all 5 people on with his ulti, but it's on his base. Nobody died, but you know, that traded. Oh, actually, Hearth died. I didn't see that. So what happened there? I think Kagura ended up bursting Hearth right here, I believe, right here. He ulted and Kagura bursted Hearth. So that's why. But right here, nobody died for Aether Atlas, but for an exchange, they got two inhib towers down, and they can No Limit can actually push this lane if they wanted to. They're just gonna clean the jungle. They don't want anything given to Aether Atlas. They have blue buff, jungle, small minions, everything before they leave. Aether Atlas, again, they have to defend. Look at the level difference. Level 12 Kagura, level 14 Hearth, level 14 Tamus, level 12 Lemerd. Just look at this. Level 14 Kari, level 11 Kimi. So yeah, they're just super behind. Everybody's behind. Even the tanks are super behind. It's 10-1. They're ahead by like, what, 10,000 gold, 11,000 gold. Yeah, I don't see Aether Atlas coming back from this. Unless Bren No Limit hard throws, which I don't see it since they're a professional team, of course. And they're gonna force this. They're gonna force this tower since they have a good front line, like I said again earlier. And yeah, Belric is not tanky enough since he's so behind, and that's a really good ulti from Minotaur again. A lot of crowd control. Akai has immortality, so it doesn't even matter if he gets downed. And once you're low, you can just keep going, and I think that's it. Pretty sure they could finish this, to be honest. Triple kill from Harith. Harith is so fed, level 15 already in 13 minutes. Maniac from Harith. Yeah, honestly, I don't know why. If you're gonna give Harith, you better have a Minotaur in your team. In my opinion, just from what I think. So let's look at the post game. Let's look at the items. So Kimmy was actually building full AD. I did not even know. I thought Kimmy was building hybrid, but she's building full AD. Not even a Berserker's Fury. Since they have 2 tanks, I think Kimmy built Malefic Roar for armor pen. But I don't know. I'm not a big fan of armor pen for Kimmy. But since he's so behind and they do have 2 tanks, I guess I don't know if he needed that. I guess. Let's see here. Of course, Harith. That's a normal build. Courage Bulwark, Immortality, normal. Yep, that's pretty normal for a tank. I can't really see Thomas's items. It's like a hybrid Thamos. It's like pretty much just a Bloodlust Axe and tank all around, I believe. Yep, Bloodlust Axe and a tank all around. So this team is like super tanky. Super tanky. Yeah, I don't know what they could have done. Of course, Belric, Immortality right away since they didn't have a front line. Estes built Immortality right away. Second item actually, since he wanted to use the what's it called? This first, I forgot this item's names. It's like a Deadly Blade but for mages. Which I'm really like questioning since you only need 1 of this for your team. Yeah, you only need 1. I don't get why you need 2. I don't know if it stacks, like the passive stacks. I don't build this item a lot. But, you know, it's good when this team has a lot of sustain. Like, Thamos, when there's a Thamos around, it's really good to have this item. And a Kimmy around, it's really good to have this item. This team they didn't even need, like, Deadly Blade or anything. Because they know they're so ahead, they don't need Deadly Blade for Estes. Lemert is usually, yeah, building the usual Bloodlust Axe. He's about to build Endless Battle right there. Kagura, he built Magic Pen right away since he knew that they were going to be so tanky. But he doesn't have, the bad part about this is he doesn't have like crazy bursts. Since usually Kagura with Lightning Trench on and Clock of Destiny would be having a lot of bursts. But since they're so behind, I guess he had no choice. So yeah, that's about it. That's all I can talk about in this game. So that's why Dogie went bald. I mean, just after the drafts and bans, I just knew that it's gonna be a tough game for Aether Atlas. Yes, they could have. It's possible that this team, right? Aether could have won and this team come, but it's very unlikely. Like probably out of 10 games, they could probably win with this team comp. Maybe one out of 10 games they could win with this team comp against this team comp. So they just lost on draft and ban for that last game. And just to tell you guys, I focused on game 3 because that's the one that mattered the most. Aether won the game 2 and Bren No Limit won game 1. And game 3 was the one that decides if Dogie was gonna get his hair bust up. So this is the only game that I covered and analyzed. So hopefully you guys learned something and enjoyed. And you know, I got nothing against these players. You know, I'm a big fan. They work hard. Everybody works hard. You know, don't give up and keep going on. That's just my personal opinion analysis. So if you have any comments or feedback, comment those below. If you have any questions, comment those below as well. And don't forget to like and subscribe as well if you are new to the channel. So thank you guys. Hope to see you guys soon. Peace.